I think it's safe to say that we are all done swiping left and swiping right in order to find connection in our lives. So today we're going to talk about how to intentionally and purposefully swipe right on yourself and learn to date yourself in a way that enhances your ability to find and create lasting connection, as well as enhance the connections that you already have in your life. Hey y'all, Maggie Dickens here. Welcome to All.The.Feels. I'm so glad you're here. You've been shattering those glass ceilings and checking off the to-dos of adulting. And now it's time for you to shed those pressures and expectations, to begin leaning into this crazy, beautiful life, and time to start getting real with what drives you. So let's begin creating the life that you crave, one feeling at a time. Now, some of you are probably going, what the heck is dating yourself, Maggie? Well, as a professional counselor and clarity, confidence, and mindset coach, I have spent a lot of time helping people learn how to connect with themselves and with the people around them in order to enhance joy and enhance clarity and overall satisfaction in their lives. Okay. I understand. There are some of you already scratching your brows going, what is Maggie talking about with this whole dating yourself thing? So let me just give you a little bit of information about what that means, and then we're going to talk about how to do it. Okay. So dating yourself is not solely for people who are not in a romantic relationship. This is for every single person. Because the most important relationship that we have is the one with ourselves. And it is often the one that is most neglected. It is the one that we will get around to it if we have time. It's the one that we neglect in order to foster relationships with other people. And when we do that, we're making it so much harder on ourselves to make those external connections because we're not even fully connected with ourselves. So dating you is about you taking as much time and energy to get to know you, to get to understand you, to grow and evolve together, so to speak, as much as you would with a new romantic or an established romantic partner. Those things that I just mentioned, those activities, that is step one in dating yourself, is getting used to enjoying life when you're solo. And what I mean by that is when you're hanging out watching Netflix on your own, you are taking a bubble bath, taking yourself out to dinner, taking yourself out to a movie, or even going on a weekend vacation or something like that. The goal here is to not stay connected to the people back in your life unless it's absolutely necessary. Like I would check in with my dog sitter. Outside of that, I'm not spending my time on the phone with my best friend. I'm not sending emails or doing anything to stay in the environment that I was in before. Instead, it's putting the same amount of energy into me that I would somebody that I was on a date with. Asking myself questions, whether that is in a formal way through journaling, or if it is purposefully taking a moment before I figure out what I want for dinner. And instead of going for the typical, for me, that's a poke bowl, or going for the easy, that would be some type of bread and cheese for me, asking myself, what is it that I really want tonight? Or today? Do I want a big, yummy, just full of veggie salad? Or am I really wanting something warm, like a tomato soup? What am I wanting and why? What's driving me to have this desire for this food? What's the environment that I want to be in when I'm eating? Do I want to stand at the island because I sit all day? That's what I typically do. Or do I want to sit at my dining room table? Or do I want to go out into an environment and people watch or sit and hear the ambient noise? Learning what drives me is one of the best ways to understand who I am, what I bring to the table, and what makes Maggie, Maggie, right? And that's what you can do as well. It's mindfulness. So a lot of people have ideas about what that term means. And for me and the people that I work with, mindfulness is not only a meditation practice. It is not only something to do when you are in an activated state. Instead, it's something to be doing all the time. Understanding our motivators, understanding our reactions to the stimuli inside and outside of our mind and body. When we are engaging in these activities of dating yourself, that physical activity of dating yourself, we are still remaining mindful. So for clarity, we will say the activities of dating is step one. Step two would be doing so mindfully. And then a third aspect of dating yourself is doing so on a regular basis. As I mentioned before, dating yourself is not reserved only for those who are romantically unattached. Instead, this is for everyone. And there are people who will date themselves exclusively for a particular amount of time. And then there are others that will date themselves in conjunction with other romantic relationships. And you get to decide what works best for you. Whether or not you are dating yourself exclusively is not as important to this process of connecting with yourself as it is to understand that this is an ongoing process. You are not your side relationship. You are your primary relationship. And it is necessary to continue to foster that relationship with yourself, to continue to check in. So I want you to think about for just a second, when you are in a relationship with someone, a romantic relationship with someone that you are falling in love with, how often do you think about them? How often do you want to text them or call them or get on FaceTime with them? How often are you thinking about the next time you get to be around that person or what you're going to do when you are around that person? Pretty much all the time, right? So when we are our primary relationship, we're doing the same thing. We are not neglecting our own interests and desires. Instead, we're thinking about them throughout the day. We are giving priority to our wants, needs, questions, desires. We are being kind to ourselves when we goof something up or we forget something, because we would do that for another person that we are loving. And it's time to have that self-compassion. That's that third part here. Self-compassion to be human and learn how to grow together and navigate that together. So going back to that idea of when you're falling in love with someone romantically, think about how often you're talking with that person and learning how they approach the world in order to see how you can best grow together. And yet we don't do that with ourselves very often. That's what dating yourself is about. That self-compassion to say, I double booked myself, or I fell asleep and took a nap and I'm going to be late. It's frustrating. It's annoying, for sure. It's also something that with communication and trust and self-compassion that we can navigate. We do it with other people, and now it's time to do it with and for ourselves. Okay, so let's review. There are 3 parts of dating yourself, and the first are the actual dating activities. The second is being mindful throughout this entire process of dating yourself, which is a long-term, fully committed life commitment relationship. And the third is doing so in the same way that you would with somebody who you're falling in love with, because the goal here is to fall in love with yourself. Self-compassion, trust, communication, and acceptance. In order to keep this short, drop me a comment. Let me know how you're going to start dating yourself today. Any questions that you have that I can elaborate on. And until next time, take care. Ciao, y'all.